All right, folks, we titled tonight's live show on July 16th, 2026 here today, XRP Bullrun Can't Be Stopped. What we're going to be discussing is despite the headwinds that we face with the Iran conflict, with the credit cycle unwinding, right? We're going through that carry trade unwinding in Japan, part of a bigger global margin call. But despite all of that, XRP is still lined up for a bull run regardless. And in fact, I would add a few other digital assets outside of XRP as well too. Of course, we focus on XRP. That gets attention. That brings people here. But we actually think that the opportunity extends out to a few other digital assets. Once again, it's all back to utility. And this is a conversation that we've been having for years. Now you're starting to see the broader, rhetoric catching up to speed with the adults in the room that have been trying to talk about tokenization, real world assets, bringing real utility and solving real problems, having a real use case. Now we're seeing these institutions that we speculated on what blockchains are they going to use? Are they even going to come start using blockchain? A lot of these institutions said that they weren't even going to touch it. Well, now they're not just touching it, they're flipping switches, they're going live. The DTCC went live in the past 24 hours. And so we'll be breaking this down tonight on how the setup is so brutal for retail investors who aren't paying attention, who don't take the time to do their own research, who are listening to the broader sentiment, which is full of FUD. If you haven't heard of the term FUD and you don't know what it is, it stands for fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And it has taken over the cryptocurrency space. Now, I think where there should be some fear, uncertainty, and doubt is in the stock market. We could talk about that for a full 1 hour live show. I'm not going to beat on that point too long, but the point being, we have an overvalued stock market ready to rotate to crypto. We have crypto bottoming out, even though the fundamentals are lining up and are as strong as they've ever been. And we got comments from the CEO of BlackRock earlier this morning. I talked about it in my update earlier today that all of the leverage has been wiped out, or at least most of it. And what I see right now is that the leverage in crypto has been wiped out. Most degens, whether we're talking about, just small time traders that have been liquidated, or we're talking about the biggest hedge funds that were trading cryptocurrency, they have been struggling and they've been wiped out. They've been liquidated, right? Those who have used leverage in the digital asset space to make your bet on digital assets, you might have been caught off guard. Maybe you made money. Hopefully you did. But for a lot of people, they were liquidated. They were wiped out from the 10/10 liquidation event, October 10th, 2025, up until the February 2026 washout because of the Iran war. That wiped out most of the crypto space. At this point, there's not much leverage left. There's a few crazy people like myself that are still in an XRP long that have just been adding to a losing trade. Like I'm admitting, I stay transparent with you guys. I have nothing to hide. I just keep it real. There's a lot of fake, there's a lot of fraud, there's a lot of lies, and so we try to cut through that noise. And like I said, in a space that has been overtaken with fear, uncertainty, and doubt, FUD is the term that we use. We find that XRP has full clarity. We find that XRP has utility. We find that XRP is ready for all of this tokenization. I'm going to play a clip, DTCC, how they say that no blockchain is ready to handle their volume, their liquidity needs, the amount of transactions that they're settling. And we're going to push back on that a little bit tonight because I think that XRP and maybe even a few other blockchains are ready. But definitely if you carve this up and you give these blockchains a piece of the pie, overall, most of these institutions and most of these rails, right, it's a multi-chain approach. It's a multi-chain strategy. And for the DTCC, we celebrate the fact that they're coming on chain. We celebrate the fact that it's Canton. I own Canton, full disclosure, but I wasn't expecting Canton to pump, and it didn't. And so let's get you caught up to speed through the noise on those that say that some of these dates and some of these, these moments where we see, hey, confirmation, DTCC, 4.7 quadrillion with a Q settled in 2025. They're coming to blockchain. Did it pump Canton? No, we weren't expecting it to. And if you were expecting it to, you were misled. I'll let you figure out why you were misled, who misled you. But let's get you caught up to speed. Like I said, cutting through the noise on the hopium and cutting through the noise on the FUD. And I take it from the institutions like BlackRock, whether we agree or disagree with how BlackRock operates, we know that they're here to make money. And we see them coming in to sell digital assets for us. We've been talking about this moment. The suits will sell it with slideshow presentations. Here you are. And it's the DTCC, Swift, it's all of these institutions going live. Is XRP perfectly positioned? You better believe it. Is, you know, a 10 million different cryptos perfectly positioned? Absolutely not. 99% are set to go to zero. And so the reason why we still show up during a bear market, when it's easy to quit, when it's easy to give up, when most have capitulated, we're still here because the fundamentals combined with the data give us a clear picture. This is the future. It's going to be broken up between a few chains, just like during the dot-com bubble. You got a few winners. If you can pick those winners, we can win big. It's just that simple. They have set this up for the average person to miss this opportunity completely. In fact, maybe I'll play the clip tonight. Raoul Paul is talking about how crypto is set to go to $100 trillion market cap overall by 2032 or 2034. The average person is not going to take advantage of the buying opportunity that we have today, and they're going to completely miss it, all by design. And we understand the setup, that it's all by design to keep us out of these investments, to keep us out of digital assets, to keep us out of a position to build financial freedom, to keep us out of a position to build wealth, to keep us out of a position to have children. And you're thinking, wait, what? Why do you throw that in there? They literally don't want you to reproduce. They don't want you stacking hard assets. They don't want you bringing real value to your community. This whole setup, it's pretty dirty how they play. And I was thinking about it. I'm going to give you guys a little note, a little positive inspiration to start this live show off before we go into an update that you guys will not want to miss. If you haven't already, please make sure you have liked, hyped this video up, and shared it out far and wide. You know, pregame, getting ready for tonight's live show, I was actually watering my garden. And I had my newborn son, well, he's about 4 months old now, in the baby carrier. And I was thinking to myself how I started carrying my daughter, my firstborn child, in my baby carrier in my garden a few years ago, back during the 2022 bear market. During the 2022 bear market, I was carrying my firstborn, my daughter, my little princess. And I was thinking back on how much XRP I had back then, on how big my crypto bags were back then, and the fact that I was a first-time father, right? And now I look ahead, my garden's gotten bigger. I have some of the same blueberry bushes, the same raspberry bushes from back then. They're doing good now. My daughter, she's thriving too. And I've also added 2 other children. But from the 2022 bear market to the 2026 bear market, I've added a couple children, a couple more raspberry and blueberry bushes, and a lot more XRP, and a lot more of these digital assets with utility. And that's what this is about. Your opportunity is now. It's not coming in. And I'm going to show you the chart zoomed out because a lot of people wait till it's safe. They wait to make sure that the water's lukewarm. We step in when it's cold. We step in when it's not attractive, when it's not sexy, when it's not what we want to be talking about. When most want to check out, we're still here. And by the way, being here doesn't mean necessarily watching like crypto hopium all day on YouTube. What it means is you're taking that OT shift. You're working that side hustle after your job. You're working on yourself to improve yourself during these bear markets. I love to lean into these bear markets. Are they hard? Are they painful? Absolutely. And a lot of people got wiped out, and a lot of people have capitulated and left. And they're the same folks that are going to be upset with themselves for not catching the 5-bagger and the 10-bagger when we go back into a bull run, which is coming. And it's exactly why I titled tonight's episode XRP Bull Run Can't Be Stopped, because I don't do hopium clickbait that's baseless. I do clickbait that is backed by facts, data, and real analysis. Do I want to bait people into clicking my video? 1,000 freaking percent. Let's not play around here. You bet I want to bait people into watching my video. But the difference is I can't get you to stay unless we back it up, unless we keep it real. And like I said, the real opportunity is as clear as day. Institutions are coming in. Institutions are flipping the switch. As I joked in my video earlier today, Johnny Pants 69 is going to comment below and say XRP sucks and we shouldn't be here in crypto. And you can pick your fighter. Do you want to listen to Johnny Pants 69? That is a real person in my comments. I mean, it's a real avatar in my comments. Or do you want to listen to the biggest institutions in the world, which are telling you, hey, we're going live. We can't do it all on one chain, but we're starting with Canton. Then we're moving to Stellar. XRP's included in our patent. Ripple Prime's included in our working group. And we just might end up on the XRP ledger, but we can't talk about it. Which is what fascinates me about the XRP story the most, is how Elon can't mention it, Trump can't mention it. Trump can take a picture with Brad Garlinghouse and Stuart Alderati, the winning team against the government, the SEC, in that fight. But he can't talk about XRP. Nobody can talk about XRP. I find it fascinating. We're going to talk about XRP. We're going to talk about digital assets with utility. We're going to talk about precious metals, which I think are on sale right now. That $50 to $60 silver, that has arrived for you. Gold below 4,000, it is here. Right? And we're also looking at AI. We're looking at real estate, which I have lined up for you tonight. I'm going to get right on into this update right now. If you guys haven't already, please help us out by liking it, hyping it, and sharing it out far and wide. I greatly appreciate your support. Let's roll. So, President Trump's speech tonight, I'm not really going to go into it too much. You guys probably already see what the summary is. We have a cover-up. U.S. intelligence, they know of some things going on. They're not telling our president. We have some issues in America. And as we've been saying now for years, when you give the people decentralized currency, decentralized media, and voting that is confirmed on blockchain and decentralized as well, then you free the people. I'll repeat. You give them decentralized currency, decentralized media, and a voting system that is secured on blockchain. You secure freedom and liberty and an opportunity for the people. Does it mean that everybody gets to be a millionaire and gets a Lambo and lives happily ever after? No, that's not what America's about. It's about you have been given the opportunity. Can you take advantage of it? Now, President Trump giving his speech tonight, we'll see. And what we're watching right now, I'm hopeful that this will clear the NDAA through the Congress. That's what we're waiting to get approved on before we can move to the Clarity Act. And we need to get the Clarity Act done before that August 7th recess. That's where we find ourselves right now. Now, I was recording an update earlier today when I lost power. There's some construction actually happening by my house. And so I was in the middle of recording this real estate update when I lost power. And so I just want to run through this real quick with you guys here on tonight's live show. And I'll cut this up and I can make a separate real estate market update using this recording right here. Today we get pending home sales data, which came in at negative 5.4%, much lower than expectations of 0.5%. The last reading was positive at 3.5%, but this shows us that, home sales coming under contract is dropping. Now, this is coinciding at the same time that we have the mortgage rates jumping 6 basis points to an average of 6.55%. This is the highest level since late August of last year, about 11 months ago. So this is all dependent on the 10-year bond, which is back up to 4.5%. This is the level that President Trump and Scott Bessent have been defending. And we've talked about the extraordinary measures that it's taken to bring the 10-year bond back down below 4%. It's taken the tariff war and it's taken the Iran war to get the 10-year back below 4% during President Trump's second term. Here's the chart. And as you can see, we had 0% interest rates back down here during 2020. We had negative interest rates in Japan, and that's what blew up this carry trade, right? But then we started to raise rates. And so into 2022, we headed into a bear market for crypto and the stock markets. It was a complete correction. It was a technical recession. Although, remember, it was politically incorrect to call it a recession. So we don't do that here. We don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. Even though it was a technical recession, Economics 101, 2 quarters of negative GDP growth. That's a recession. But it wasn't in 2022. Okay, got that. Got that. Let's carry on. So President Trump comes in here, and this is after the 10-year bond had gone up over 5% in 2023. Started to come back down in 2024. It bottomed out in September before that election. President Trump came in and it shot back up here to 4.8% in January by the time he took office. Then he launched the tariff war. I'm going to zoom in on my chart so you guys can see what I'm talking about right here. We came back down after President Trump launched the tariff war. And you're looking at that 10-year, came back down to 3.8%. Okay. That didn't last long, though. The bond market said, okay, short-term issue. We rally into the 10-year, but then we start to say, okay, what are we doing here? And it runs back up to 4.6%. Fast forward to 2026, we entered the Iran war and conflict, and we're able to get the 10-year back down to 3.9%. That doesn't last long before the 10-year pops back up here to 4.7%, basically. And as we record the update here tonight, we're at 4.5%. So with a 10-year at 4.5%, you're going to see about 200 basis points of spread tagged on to mortgage rates on average. And so this is why your average mortgage rate in America is at 6.55%. That's assuming that you have decent credit and a down payment to work with. And this is leading us into the next phase of the real estate reset that I've been warning about, where some of these markets are not, the correction's already here, it's already started, but we have much further to go. I want you to consider this fact. The 10 years back up to 4.5, almost 4.6%. This could be on its way to 5% if we don't get a grip on it. And as you've seen here, it took the tariff war in 2025 and it took the Iran war in 2026 to get that 10-year back down. Basically, we had to scare the ever-living you-know-what out of everybody to get them to come back into our bonds. And we successfully did that. But what I worry about is what happens next if Japan and these other countries start to really unload those U.S. treasuries. This could get a lot worse. That 10-year goes back up even further, and your mortgage rate is now going to be 7%, 8%. We're not talking about 2 and 3% interest rates on your mortgage. And the crazy part is that a lot of sellers are still trying to price their homes with rates as if rates are still at 2 or 3%. Now, consider the fact that foreign holdings of U.S. Treasuries rose by $18 billion in May to 9.3 trillion, the second highest on record. Over the last 12 months, total foreign holdings of U.S. Treasuries have surged by $549 billion. So, yeah, there's been some dumping of our treasuries, but overall, we still got buyers. Japan, the largest foreign holder, reduced its holdings by $67 billion to 1.14 trillion, the lowest since May of 2025, but they still hold 1.14 trillion, right? The UK, the second largest holder, added 11 billion to a record 949 billion. The UK is still a net buyer. China, the third largest holder, raised its holdings by 8 billion to 659 billion, the highest level since February. Meanwhile, the seven largest financial centers added 33 billion, bringing their total treasury holdings to 3.24 trillion, an all-time high. Demand for US treasuries remains strong. Let me add, for now. And this is the big threat. This takes us back to that carry trade in Japan, where this starts to unwind quickly and you start to see Japan have to panic and they sell those US treasuries. The UK and other foreign holders of our treasuries become net sellers. And then we got to either have our central bank step up or we're going to have to do something because that 10-year starts to climb. That's where it causes real issues for our economy. Now, in Japan, that 10 years up to 2.733 right now as we record this update. So bonds are moving back up. This is causing problems across the board. All part of that global margin call. Now, let's continue on here. When it comes to commercial real estate, the office segment, it just hit its highest level of delinquency rates at 12.3%. So commercial real estate, specifically office, absolutely getting slaughtered. But what's the opportunity for you that's tuning in tonight? The opportunity for you that's tuning in tonight is to know that we're going through a real estate reset and correction. And we can talk too about using crypto profits to leverage ourselves and get ourselves into real estate. That has been my plan all along and is something that I'm going to be conducting over the next few years. But this opportunity for you to negotiate, to find yourselves, better value for the rent that you're paying, find yourselves a lower rent, for you to finally become a first-time buyer, for you to buy your dream home. You just have to understand where your market's at because this is all based off your location. Some markets are actually still going up, while other markets are in a deep correction. And where we find the deepest corrections is where the builders are most present, those national home builders, right? Nick Gurley right here. The home builder market is in its biggest recession since 2009. Months of supply for homes under construction is now at 14.8 months. Permitted homes not yet started have surged to 21.3 months. Both are similar or worse than the 2008-2009 housing bust, suggesting that future demand for new construction is in the tank. The one exception is completed spec homes where the months of supply is just 3.9 months. Builders can still sell move-in ready inventory, especially when paired with mortgage rate buydowns and incentives. But anything further out in the pipeline is piling up. The result, builders are struggling to justify tomorrow's construction, and this builder recession is likely to get worse. Don't be surprised if we see a big pullback in starts at some point. So that's what's happening with our builders, is they are offering significant incentives. In fact, I have to pull up Claude real quick in my research analysis. I have a couple different agents here, and I wanted to find one more data point right here. National home builder confidence is at 35, which is its 26th straight negative month. 35% of builders are cutting prices and 62% are offering incentives. So I just wanted to read off those data points for you guys tonight as well too. 60%, right? To be exact, it's 62%. 35% are cutting prices and 62% are offering incentives. And incentives are a form of cutting prices. So we have to cover the real estate asset class if we want to fully take advantage of the greatest transfer of wealth in world history. We can't just focus on XRP. We can't just focus on crypto. You can't just focus on your AI stocks that have done well. You also need to pair up your understanding and comprehension of what's happening in markets with real estate as well too, because everybody needs shelter over their head, right? And potentially you're looking at real estate as an investment opportunity as well too. Where can we find opportunities? Like I said, these markets where the builders are the most present, these national home builders, that's where we're seeing the biggest drawdowns. We're talking about, Phoenix Metro in Arizona. We're talking about Denver, Colorado. We're talking about Texas, Dallas, Fort Worth Metro. Austin, Texas. We're talking about Nashville, Tennessee. We're talking about the state of Florida. We're talking about, in my neck of the woods, Seattle. In my neck of the woods, Vancouver, BC. You want to talk about bloodbath? Holy smokes. I just took my family up to Kitsilano Beach yesterday for a swim at the saltwater pool. I love going up to Canada. It's a beautiful place. I love our Canadian brothers and sisters. But holy smokes, do you have a real estate reset taking place in your neck of the woods? And all of this presents an opportunity for the next crypto bull run cycle, which will allow you to take profits or even not even have to sell your XRP, not even have to sell your crypto and be able to roll that into real estate, be able to roll that into a new business, be able to scale your business. That's what gets me excited about the real estate reset. Is it pains me to know that a lot of people got themselves in bad deals. It pains me that some people are going to be losing equity, but the opportunity that presents is something that I'm going to be taking advantage of, right? That's happening regardless of how we feel about it. Whether or not we take advantage of it is up to you. Now, let's keep it rolling and let's get into crypto, folks. If you guys have not already, please help us out for liking, hyping, and sharing this out far and wide. We bring you the market updates without the hopium, without the narratives, without the BS. And we're not going to stop despite the bear markets. We are going to deliver our research and our analysis every single day, no matter what's going on in these markets. If you appreciate it, smack it, tap it, share it out far and wide for us. Crypto Clarity Act expected to be released today does not have Senate Democrat support. Now, the most recent update is that we're not going to get it today. It seems like it was postponed, maybe because of Trump's speech. Maybe they're still working on ethics. That's the big excuse right now. As John Deaton says right here, though, after everything crypto has been through this past decade, the Clarity Act could die over ethics concerns. The simulation has been confirmed. You can't write satire this good. And it goes back to a point that I've been making. It's an absolute joke. This is not Democrat, Republican. This is people of both sides of the aisle, of all backgrounds, of all, you name it. Check every box. If they're in DC, we ask a simple question. Have they sold out the American people? Yes or no? Have they sold out the future for our children? Yes or no? Just yes or no. And the answer is very clear. For 9 out of 10 of these politicians in DC that are supposed to be representing us, they have sold us out. They are selling out the future for our children. You want to talk about ethics? You want to point the spotlight at Trump? Go ahead. I'm here for it. I'm here for all truth being revealed. Left, right, DR, up, down. You pick a color. You pick a flavor. You pick a feeling. Have they sold out the American people? Yes or no? And if you're not looking to advance the Clarity Act and bring this innovation and technology to the American economy and the American people and the American entrepreneurs and capitalists, you are working against us. It's as simple as that. And so we say, open it up. You're worried about the ethics of Trump making some money on crypto? Good. So am I. I'm worried about anybody in office using their position of power to leverage themselves and for their own personal benefit. I don't care about parties. I don't care about anything other than let's let the facts speak for themselves and let's let it all be exposed. You want to talk, and they don't want to get into it. That's the whole point. That's why John Deaton is saying that this is the simulation confirmed. It's an absolute freaking joke. But they make a mockery of us because they think we are stupid. Unfortunately, there's a reason why they get away with this. And it's up for us to stand together. And we have to stand up together and understand that on a lot of these issues, I was talking about this with my wife the other day. Maturing is realizing that when it comes to politics, when you remove DNR, when you move Trump and Obama, when you just get down to the policy, Do you support this policy? Yes or no? We agree on most of it. We agree that we should have an industry for cryptocurrency. We should have regulations and some, you know, you know, we have to have some rules of the road, sure. But by and large, this is bipartisan. This is bigger than party. This is a matter of national security. And yet here we are, we find ourselves in the final hour. And at this point, the Clarity Act's a coin toss. I'm not going to come on and say the Clarity Act's, done and absolutely not going to get done. And I'm also not going to say it's for sure. This is really a coin toss at this point. Now, I want to get to your guys' Q&A, so let me keep it moving. But what I want to show you here, Watcher Guru put out this post. Crypto Clarity Act is not projected to be signed into law this year, despite President Trump meeting with senators today to help advance the bill. Now, I want you guys to pay attention. This is a tweet that they're putting out to promote Polymarket. I am nothing against anybody that has a sponsor. I have a sponsor. I believe in my sponsor. I will shill my sponsor gladly. I really believe in the product that they offer. And if somebody wants to shill Polymarket or any other prediction market, God bless you. Sure, go ahead. My point is that this tweet gets put out today, and I see everybody running around as if this is the gospel, as if this is set in stone. Folks, this is a headline that's being put out and tweeted to bring in eyeballs and attention and engagement so they can funnel you to come make a bet on Polymarket, as they disclose right here, paid partnership with Polymarket. And I've seen this not just from Watcher Guru, from others. Like I said, nothing against the sponsorship. That's cool. But let's not act like the prediction markets are gospel. Okay? Just because the prediction markets are leaning one way or another does not mean that this is a done deal. And so I wanted to make that point so that we don't rule it out completely. Now, yesterday, the DTCC goes live. I want to play this clip right here so everybody understands why XRP is not at $1,000 today. Because you may have been told that XRP was going to be at $1,000 today so that it could settle the DTCC flows. You might have been told that Canton was going to go to $1 million to settle DTCC. You might have been told that XLM was going to go to a big number. You get my point and where I'm going with this. Let's break down what's going on here. The DTCC flipped the switch, but or if we want to use the analogy of opening up the spigot, the faucet has been opened up, but we're not at full blast yet. We started to trickle some flows across onto blockchain technology. That's what took place in the past 24 hours. Did they flip the switch, open up full blast, all of the liquidity, 4.7 quadrillions coming to Canton today, let's roll? Negative. Were they ever going to do that? No. Did we warn you guys that, this is how this is going to happen? Yes, we did. Like I said, we try to cut through that noise. We try to cut through that hopium. We also try to cut through the FUD. You have it on both sides. XRP's dead. It's going below $1. It'll never go back above $1. You should sell everything. On the other side, XRP has to go to $1,000. I have a narrative. I want to sell a narrative. I want to pump you. I want to hopium you. I want to juice you up. And it's difficult in this world of so much noise, so many distractions, so many narratives. What is real? This is where we try to position ourselves, keeping it real with you guys. Is this something to get excited about? Is this something to be hyped about? 1000%. But you have to understand, this is a multi-chain approach. This is just the start. Full launch coming in October. And so you have to be patient with this process. Let's go right here. 750 by end of year. I got it wrong. It wasn't $1,000 by DTCC flip of the switch. It's 750 by the end of the year. You guys let me know, where is XRP at by the end of the year? Where is XRP at by the next flip of the switch? I love a riddle just as much as anybody, but I'll let you guys decode it and let me know what the XRP price action is going to be. Let's run this clip. This is Nadine Chakar, head of DTCC Digital Assets, saying, quote, "We process 4 quadrillion of settlements a year. There's no blockchain that can handle that, so we're working with Canton, Stellar, and a few others." Let's run it.
In the notes you sent us, you also said that DTCC does not believe one blockchain will dominate finance. And I feel like this is one of the arguments of some skeptics when it comes to tokenization, that it'll be so fragmented because there's so many blockchain. So suppose like a tokenized security moves across several chains and an error occurs. I'm just curious, who determines the official ownership record? Like, can you talk to us about that and maybe give a concrete example?
It's DTCC. That's why we're we're the good control location.
But if it doesn't go
the
through,
buck stops with you.
The record stops with us.
Okay.
Correct. So this is where the argument of go from issuer directly to retail, the argument of one blockchain is going to rule the world, like maybe someday, okay? But based on what we know today, it's very difficult. And I'll give you a good example.
And is it difficult for the better or the worse?
Difficult for the better or for worse. Well, it's a limitation of the technology. So today, blockchains are not as, believe it or not, are not as efficient as our good old COBOL mainframes. Right? We process, let me throw a number at you. We process $4 quadrillion of settlement a year.
Wow.
Okay, that's 4 plus 16 zeros. There is no blockchain on the planet today that can handle that, mainly because the consensus mechanism of every time something happened, you've got to write to the blockchain a record. It takes a while. So a lot of the work that DTCC is doing behind the scenes is also working with a whole slew of fintech, big tech, to figure out how to scale. How do we get to a point where we can process many millions of transactions a second on the blockchain, so we can get to a stage where that maybe happen? There's another element of privacy, right? Privacy and scale are inversely correlated. So either you get privacy and you're going to have to suffer with slow blockchain, or vice versa. So what did we do? What did DTCC do? We think about it as a multi-layer cake. The first thing we did is we said we're gonna work with the industry and find a couple of blockchains that actually there's liquidity on it, that client have their assets on. We very earlier on announced Canton. Last week we announced Stellar. We're working on a couple of others. But we will have, listen, every single day there's somebody who goes, Yahoo, I've got a new blockchain. We can't engage with 100 or 10,000 blockchains out there. We'll curate a good list of blockchains that we will use.
Now, why can't they mention XRP? Why can't anybody talk about XRP, right? We can say a few others. Canton's the first. How much did Canton pay to get the first one? Canton's in the room with the cabal, aren't they? This is why I own some Canton. Not afraid to own cabal coins. Make money off the cabal coins and use it for good to defeat the cabal. That's the goal. Canton gets in there, Stellar gets in there, and she says, we're working on a few others. And so you got all these people freaking out. There's been all this chatter, Twitter talking heads over the past 24 hours that are jumping on this. Like, DTCC chose Canton. That means XRP will never be chosen and XRP's dead. And that's just not the case. Right? When we stop the sensationalism, like I said, the hopium spectrum, or in this case, the FUD, the fear, uncertainty, and doubt, just because DTCC decided to announce and start with Canton and then eventually Stellar, and they've said a few other chains too, but let me just put out some FUD and say that they're never going to be on XRP and that XRP is never going to be used by the DTCC. Even though the DTCC has included Ripple Prime in their working group on this matter, and we also know that XRP was included in the patent. The other funny thing to watch recently too is the Swift narrative and the Swift FUDs came back around. And I've talked about how the same FUD, the same talking points to attack XRP and Ripple will come back around every few years. The Swift one's funny because the point is not to replace Swift. We're doing something deeper than what Swift accomplishes. We're doing more than what Swift does today, which is just messaging. The goal is to update messaging and settlement. Most importantly, settlement. It's easy to send a text or a message instantaneously in with today's technology. But getting the banking system to settle up that transaction in 3 to 5 seconds is what the XRP ledger can do and what these traditional systems can't. Now, she says that the XRP ledger is not ready to scale. I would push back. We know about private ledgers, and we also can just do the math on if you want to settle big volume and big numbers across these flows using a blockchain, you also could juice one of these tokens to a much higher price to be able to settle that value. Right? There's less value that XRP can settle in a day when XRP is sitting at $1.10 versus XRP sitting at $100 or $1,000 per XRP. That's a simple equation, right? We need to settle this much per day. We have this amount of XRP. And so we need to see XRP go to XXX price. That would allow us to settle these 4.7 quadrillion per year using the XRP ledger. Right? I push back on the point there from Nadine from the DTCC that the blockchain technology is not ready to scale. I don't think that that's true. Using private ledgers on the XRP ledger, using just the open source, the ledger as it exists today, finality in 3 to 5 seconds. And if you were to push XRP to a higher price, then the value per transaction can increase substantially as well too. If one XRP is trading at $10,000 per coin, we can move a lot more value over the network. And that's been a big part of why so many of us think that XRP has to go to these higher prices, because if it's going to settle these flows of liquidity, it has to be at $100, $1,000, or $10,000 price. But I'm enjoying, and really it's actually kind of sad, I guess, to see that we're still being so tribal, to see that we're still like trying to, it's like whack-a-mole. Any project that gets a partnership, that gets some adoption, whether it be Canton with DTCC, whether it be Stellar with the DTCC, whether it be XRP with another banker institution, it's like as soon as somebody pops their head up and says, hey, we got some institutional adoption, the broader crypto space of other bag holders comes out and is like trying to play whack-a-mole. Smack down Canton, and we can't be positive about this because I don't own a bag of Canton, so let me whack-a-mole. I don't own a bag of XRP, so let me whack-a-mole XRP when it gets a partnership. How about you just get a bag? Not financial advice, but how about you just get a bag and stop being negative? That's what I want to say to these people. We spend all this time attacking. It's like the Chainlink guy. He keeps on coming out, and he went from community liaison to some other BS title. It's like institutional adoption or partnership. It's some other BS title. Zach Rines from Chainlink. I remember his name because he's another Zach. He spells Zach the right way, but well, I'm not going to use the explicitive that I would use to call, that I would use to describe him. But why can't you just talk about Chainlink's success without having to bash XRP? That's the point I'm trying to get to. We talk about XRP adoption. We talk about Stellar, Canton, HBAR, any of the ZBCN, any of these projects with real utility. We're cheering it on. And the space is beat down so bad. We're in such a bad spot in this bear market. And we still have this mentality of tribalistic tendency to just want to play whack-a-mole. And I hope that we can evolve. The good news is that the longer we play along like this, um, the more it stops people from accepting that you just need to full port your bag from whatever crap coin you have that doesn't have institutional adoption to a coin that is getting institutional adoption. And a lot of people don't want to accept that. They don't want to accept that Cardano isn't getting institutional adoption. Right? They don't want to accept that Sui isn't getting institutional adoption. They don't want to accept that Avalanche ain't it. You know what I'm saying? And that is why you got this sentiment of nobody's allowed to have success during this bear market. It's bringing everybody down, right? It's why it's the same reason why you got to get out of an environment of people that are full of negativity with a poor mindset, right? You need to get away from that because they're going to drag you back down. When you go tell your family that you started a business, they're going to tell you that you're going to fail. They're going to call you crazy. I know because I've been through this myself twice. When I started my first business, and then when I left and I sold off my first business to go full-time into my second business, this business of media. My grandmother, God bless her, was very concerned. She's still very concerned about me. Right? But if you can believe in yourself, and hopefully your belief is backed by real fundamentals, and for us it is, fundamentals and data, then you can have the conviction to start that business, make that investment, and do what's unpopular. And those are the people that win most. Stepping in when nobody else wants to, solving that problem when others say it's not possible, right? And bringing that advantage to the marketplace that sets you apart. That's why our community continues to win. Now, continuing on here, I want to talk real quick about XRP yield before we get into some rapid fire Q&A. Once again, the broader crypto space is so busy playing whack-a-mole, is so busy just being beat down and is in a very bad spot, and is in such a place of denial with XRP and basically a misunderstanding that XRP is just a banker's coin with no DeFi, that everybody is completely asleep at the wheel when it comes to the XRP DeFi and programmability that's coming to our ledger. That is the point. I'm going to show you two examples of XRP yield opportunities, but it's just to show you guys and just to reiterate that 99% of crypto doesn't even know about this. They're not paying attention to XRP DeFi. They're not paying attention that you'll be able to engage in XRP programs and DeFi programs where you can earn yield on your XRP. The lending protocol is one that we're really excited about. Doppler, they've been putting out consistent updates. Their Doppler Vault APR update here, latest yield distribution. This week's yield was approximately 3%. Their RLUSD Vault was approximately 7%. Users can check their XRP and RLUSD balances and view the yields they've earned on both the Vault and Manage pages. Yield distribution is calculated based on the average balance over the week. Please note that APR may vary weekly depending on market conditions, and past performance does not guarantee future results. But the problem with Doppler and with a lot of these is they would meet the Howey test. Here in the United States of America, they're not available. And so they're not available for those of us in America that are looking to get yield on our XRP. For others, they've become available and folks are taking advantage of it. And for me, I'm excited to see the opportunities come to the Americans because others have been able to participate in these for years. Now we're finally starting to see Americans get access to XRP yield opportunities in particular. There's been other opportunities, Ethereum staking, Solana staking, but XRP yield, right? We don't have staking on our ledger. So to earn yield on your XRP, generally people are going to take your XRP, they're going to take a line of margin against it, and they're going to go trade it. Somebody has to go trade somebody. Somebody has to go generate some money to bring you back yield because there's no staking on the XRP ledger. Now, Soil, they have a different approach right here. Fixed yield is only as strong as the forces moving it forward. Behind the credit vault, 8% APY, is a diversified pool of real-world assets and credit strategies, all pulling in one direction with capital deployed to cash-generating businesses. So this is an opportunity from Soil to earn 8%. Now, Doppler, last week, they paid out 3%. Soil's paying out 8%, but looking into some of their products, it looks like it's tied to private credit. And we're seeing private credit blow up right now. So you can take your pick, right? When you look through these opportunities, do you want to be on the lower return but less risk spectrum? Or do you want to take on more risk for more reward? And what we're going to continue to do on this show and this channel is to bring you guys the opportunities, present them in front of you, educate you on how they work, the information that we can give you, and then ultimately it's going to be up to you to make that call. But as I was talking about earlier with real estate, right? People are going to be able to put their XRP into yield opportunities like Doppler, Soil, and others. I know we're been talking with I Trust Capital. We've been talking with Caleb Brown, some of my channel partners and affiliates that we work with, on how they're working with Ripple on generating XRP yield, right? And they've already partnered up with Ripple. And so what we're going to present to you guys is everything, the good, the bad, the ugly. I'm not here to endorse any one of these products, but I am going to present the information, and I'm going to shoot it straight on my analysis. And whether or not I will be participating, you will know, because I'm going to be honest with you guys. Hey, I put some XRP to work here. I put some XRP to work there. I'm scared to put XRP here, right? And I've been scared to put my XRP anywhere up until now. I've been scared to put my XRP with any of these yield providers because I know we're going through a debt, currency, and liquidity crisis. I also know that we're in the middle of a crypto bear market. And so to generate yield, if we're going to go trade crypto, you better be dang good at what you're doing. And so we have to protect our community, because I'm telling you right now, the setup is nobody knows about it right now. And so it's wide open for opportunity. It's great for us. A lot of people are going to come, but a lot of bad actors are going to come too. A lot of people are going to take your XRP, or, this doesn't have to be about XRP. It could be about other digital assets too. They're going to take your crypto, promising you yield, and they're going to fail to bring you returns. They're going to fail to bring you yield. Now, hopefully they're honest if that is the case, and then you'll know. So, okay, I thought I was going to make 3 to 5%. I'm losing money. I want to stop losing money. I'm going to pull out my money. I'm going to pull out my XRP. I'm going to pull out my HBAR, whatever the crypto may be, and you can move on to the next opportunity. Hopefully you can get your XRP or crypto back out, and hopefully they're not going to cause you too much of an issue. But what's so exciting is all of this programmability, all this DeFi allows us to not have to sell off our XRP. Like I said, you'll be generating passive income for just holding your XRP, deploying it into these strategies. But then also, if you want to be a little bit more active, you want to be an operator, or you just want to be an investor, you could then borrow against your XRP in these digital assets to go buy real estate, go buy businesses. You already have a business that you've started, and when XRP gets to $10, I'm gonna take out a little bit of a loan against the portion of my XRP. Or you're gonna sell some of your XRP, right? Understanding the tax implications. We like to never have to sell and just avoid taxes completely. But to leverage yourself, you have to have a good deal. You have to be a good operator, or you have to invest with a good operator. And as we're starting to see as we go through a private credit crisis, the private funds in real estate, the private funds in crypto, the private funds across the board, no matter what they're investing in. I talked about it on last live show on Tuesday about how they're making SPVs, special purpose vehicles, to invest in blocks of cheese, or I guess in this case, it would be wheels of cheese in Italy now. So if you think that we can't get more ridiculous with how we package up investment products and opportunities, um, strap in, because we continue to find a way. We continue to find a way to wrap up stuff you didn't even think could get wrapped up. We're putting wheels of cheese in special purpose vehicles. I'll let you guys answer the question, yes or no. Are we in an SPV bubble? Are we in a private fund bubble? And the answer was we were in a we are going through a credit cycle. I can tell you that right now unequivocally. We don't need to guess. We had debt that could be used at 0 to 2%, 0 to 3% essentially for a couple years after 2020. And I want you guys, I'm just gonna run off this point and then let's go Q&A. Look at how everything has performed. Look at the prices of everything since 2020. In 2020, we entered a new reality. What has gold done since then? What has silver done since 2020? What has real estate in your market done since 2020? What have the prices of goods and services done since 2020? We talked about the compounding inflation earlier this week. Inflation coming down, it pumped crypto, it pumped the stocks. That's good. Month over month inflation cooling. But the persistent compounding inflation is why coffee's over 100% more expensive than it was just 6 years ago. But when you go back to 2020, I want you guys to pay attention here what happened. You were given your last opportunity to buy XRP at 10 cents. That was it. That opportunity has come and gone. You will never buy XRP at 10 cents again. Don't even think that that's a possibility. And maybe it is. Maybe we do go back to 10 cents. I don't think it is. I run with the framework that we'll never go back to 10 cents. Maybe you think that we will. Let me know in the comments down below. In 2022, XRP went down to 28 cents for a final time. It was the last time that we went below 30 cents in June of 2022. That was your last chance to pick up XRP below 30 cents. You will never get XRP below 30 cents again. Fast forward to 2026. You might get one last opportunity to pick up XRP below $1. You might. No guarantee. I'm not here to say one way or another. People are all mad. People got triggered because I used the term rally in my video yesterday. I used the term rally to bring eyeballs in. Have to. Do you not understand that if you don't use a level of clickbait, you will not be seen in today's world? And so I use ethical clickbait. Do I want to bait people to watch my content? 1000%. I would never deny that. I would never deny that. But I know that I only get you to subscribe and hit that notification bell. I only get your support with a thumbs up and a hype. I only get you to use my affiliate links and my sponsor if you actually appreciate our analysis, if our analysis is actually quality. And so I want to remind everybody that you were given one last opportunity to pick up at 10 cents in 2020. You were given one last opportunity to pick up at 30 cents in 2022. And I believe we can just say, you've been given one last opportunity to pick up at $1.01. You might get an opportunity to pick up below $1, but is it going to last long? As we've seen since 2020, when we entered a new world, when we entered a new reality, when the timeline shifted, these assets went into a reset and a revaluation. Gold, silver. Look at what they did in 2020. Look how low gold went in 2020. Look how low silver went in 2020. And look at them now. Is gold and silver off of their all-time highs? Oh, yeah. Silver's down 50%. A lot of people want to rub that in. They want to rub that in for the silver stackers. For those of us like myself that didn't sell any of my silver, because I think we're still going a lot higher, right? But we ran up, we've pulled back. Is that a buying opportunity? I think it is. You guys let me know in the comments. Gold. Look at what gold did in 2020. That final opportunity to pick up gold at what, 1,500 per ounce, 1,400 per ounce, wherever it went down to. During that same time, silver went down to what, $17 per ounce? Your final opportunity to pick up silver below $20 per ounce. Look at XRP in 2020. Your final opportunity to pick it up at 10 cents. You'll never get it again. This right here, I got a couple buffalo heads. Each one is 1 ounce of silver. You'll never pick this up at $20 per ounce again. You'll never pick this up at $30 per ounce again. You'll never pick this up at $40 per ounce again. You might not even be able to get it for 50. We're at 55. We came back down. You might get a buying opportunity sub 50 for a minute. You might get a buying opportunity sub $1 XRP for a minute. But look at these assets and what they've done since 2020. They're not getting any cheaper. And that explains who and why people will be left behind during this transfer of wealth. Don't be mistaken in thinking that because we didn't go straight to 10,000, 50,000 per ounce gold, that the revaluation is not underway. No, it's underway right now. The reset's here now. We already went from 1,500 per ounce to 5,600 per ounce gold. A correction to 4,000 is normal. Don't be mistaken. Don't be foolish. A correction after silver pumps over 100%. In fact, it was quite a bit more. And it comes back down to the previous all-time high. That technical setup is as good as it gets. Ask any trader, ask any TA guru, which I don't call myself one. But even if you're a doofus moron, technical analysis, you know that after you get a break of structure, go into price discovery, come back to previous all-time high, which was the previous all-time high in 2011 and 1980. The technical structure built off of 60 years, it's pretty solid. That's pretty good structure. This isn't a meme coin that we're trying to chart out after 6 days of trading. This is a reserve currency that's been charted out over thousands of years. And they're not getting any cheaper. That home, that shelter that you need for your family, it's actually starting to get a little bit cheaper. But relative to where it was at, this is a different game. We're in a different reality. Every day, no matter what it is, whether I'm going to buy groceries, whether I just went camping with the family last weekend, no matter what it is that I'm buying, I'm blown away by how much everything costs. I remember I bought a couple propane tanks, those small little ones, for my new grill. And I just paid $7 per tank. I mean, I remember when these used to be like $3 to $5, I swear, not that long ago, pre-2020. And that's the point that I'm getting at, is that everything in our lives that actually matters, that actually has utility and real value, gold, silver, XRP, energy, propane tank, natural gas, oil, right? All of these things, The only thing that's deflationary right now is technology. I just got my access to Fable 5 extended for a few more days. So I'll be working on my AI slop with Fable 5 for a few more days. That's the only thing that's gotten cheaper. I mean, you can go get a 4K TV for a few $100 now. Used to cost $2,000 to get a big screen TV, and the thing was the size of a small car. Some things have gotten cheaper. But by and large, real value, fundamental value, necessary commodities, essential commodities, goods and services, and food, which, by the way, why don't we just roll with the core CPI number? The core CPI where we strip out food and energy. Who needs food and energy? I like living in La La Land too. Let's strip out food and energy and act like inflation's coming down. Right? All of this presents us an opportunity to take advantage before the bull run starts. Has the bull run started? No. Well, Zach, why did you put bull run in the title? That offends me. I might be upset by that. I might cry and I might hit the thumbs down. And you should. And you should also subscribe and get caught up to speed because you don't want to get left behind here. Wipe off your tears and see what lies before you. They tricked the retail. They tricked the masses. The masses have been dumbed down. The masses have been fooled. The masses have been kept poor. Do you want to join that crowd? Are you in that crowd? Let's break you free. Let's get you out. Let's set you free. And let's get you on the right side of the transfer of wealth. That's what this program is about. The XRP bull run can't be stopped because we have clarity with or without the legislation. We have institutional adoption, regardless of anything. Iran war, private credit crisis, Clarity Act. We got it. We got clarity. We got institutional adoption. We got ETFs. We got a DeFi ecosystem that's about to explode. 99% of crypto doesn't know about it. Opportunity. You want to see the opportunity before everybody else. That is how big money is made. I see a super chat and I want to get to rapid fire Q&A. But before I do so, I want to plug our sponsor here real quick. If you guys haven't already, I plugged my sponsor and I partnered up with them because I believe in their product. I believe in institutional grade custody being the best solution for most people. Now, I work with two different providers, Caleb and Brown, I Trust Capital. They're best in class, straight up. Both are. And I have accounts and I have XRP. I have crypto with both. Okay. But if you guys haven't checked it out, because I know a lot of people have retirement funds and you've been trying to get your retirement funds into crypto or precious metals and you haven't been able to, well, we now have the solution for you. This is why we partnered up with I Trust Capital. You can roll over a 401k into an IRA, or if you already have an IRA, you can roll it over to I Trust Capital and you can get it in a tax-advantaged traditional IRA, or you can start stacking gains tax-free, completely tax-free in the Roth IRA, and you can get exposure to your favorite assets within your retirement funds with our sponsor, I Trust Capital. Now, you also can just take advantage of their premium custody account like I have, and you also can start holding digital assets in your LLC, your trust, your nonprofit through their treasury account as well too. Now, right now, I have buy orders on iTrust for $1.01 for XRP and for 92-cent XRP. So I don't just talk about this with you guys. I don't just come on here and, hey, we got to hype everybody up tonight. New people are still arriving on the scene. We lay out our case for why we should still be bullish on this asset class overall and why XRP is uniquely positioned. We justify why we can title the video XRP Bull Run Can't Be Stopped. We really believe it. We have data and fundamentals to back it up. As I said, people were triggered yesterday when I used the title rally. I titled my video yesterday Coordinated XRP Rally. And the point is that I don't care what we call it. You can call it a rally, you can call it a pump. I don't care what we call it. It was a move. Next time I'll use coordinated XRP move so I don't offend anybody. Because I really don't want to hurt your feelings out here. So next time I'll call it coordinated XRP move. And all jokes aside, the point being is I'm trying to get people to the data, which is the market cap multiplier shows us time after time again that it's going to take far less liquidity, far less inflows into XRP to pump it to these high prices that we want. So if you're ever losing faith on XRP, you can go back to the market cap multiplier that we had over the past few days and you can say, wow, where's my note? Did I throw it away? Oh, I already threw it earlier. I already threw it when I was ranting and raving earlier in the live show. It's right here. I don't care. Call it a rally, call it a pump. If that's too much, let's call it a move. Semantics is a waste of our time. This will help you understand how quickly these assets can move, like XRP. What does this show you? I know you can't read the sticky note, so let me read it off. We had 3.59 million net inflow the first day, which increased XRP's market cap by 1.92 billion. That market cap multiplier was 548x. See, when I put 548x in the thumbnail, that's not clickbait. That's a real data point. People just throw slop in the thumbnail. Like, whatever. This is where we're at. We're just AI slopping it out here. Let me throw $10,000 XRP in the thumbnail. What the heck? The second day, the net flow was 3.43 million. That increased XRP's market cap by over $1 billion again. And that market cap multiplier was 393x. It's taking millions to move the market cap by billions. So when tens of millions come in, we'll be moving it by tens of billions. Right? When hundreds of millions come in, we'll be moving it by hundreds of billions. When billions come in, we'll be moving it by trillions. And people have asked me, why do you keep on talking about this? This number is always changing. Of course, it's always changing. What stays the same? What stays consistent is that the market cap multiplier is not 1-to-1. It doesn't take $1 billion coming in to raise XRP's market cap by $1 billion. Now, we haven't seen billions come into this asset. Since I started talking about the market cap multiplier, we looked for the ETF inflows to have an impact. They haven't had an impact because it's all over the counter. It's all OTC. This is why the XRP ETFs have not had an impact on price. They have soaked up almost 1% of the XRP supply, which I think will lead to an impact on price down the road. But the immediate impact has been nil, nothing, because it's all been over the counter. And in 2026, through the first half of the year, we had about 2 billion of outflows from XRP. So retail sold XRP, institutions, and we've watched the ETF inflows have been positive consistently. Institutions, smart money is buying XRP. Retail, dumb money is selling XRP. Let me asterisk caveat. Retail that needs to pay bills and has other expenses also having to sell XRP, which breaks my heart. That's what really breaks my heart, is that people are having to sell that don't want to. And I'm not even talking about over leverage. I'm just talking about affording life, affording bills, inflation, compounding. That's causing people to sell XRP that don't want to, and that breaks my heart. Now, I want to get into rapid fire Q&A. So let's check. When I put in the thumbnail for tonight's the 852X, just so you guys know where that comes from. It comes from XRP going from $1.05 up to $10, just so we're clear. And if you look back here at the last cycle, we went up 1,100%. If we move 852% off $1.05, that's $10, and that's not even the bottom. Right? The $1.01 level has been the bottom so far. But if we do something similar to what we've done last cycles, XRP is on its way to $10 and beyond with ease. I mean, that's a base case, and we're talking about basically a 10 bagger is what we're talking about on that opportunity. Let's get into rapid fire Q&A. If you guys haven't already liked this one, hyped it up, sharing it out far and wide, I greatly appreciate you for doing so. Core Pins shows up. Zach, I have been wearing my XRP shirts every day for over 2 years, everywhere, mall, market, Huntington Beach, golfing, outdoors events, and I have been stopped by 6 people who know about XRP crypto. Everyone else has no clue about crypto. Core Pins, I appreciate that super chat. That's a big fitty spot. I appreciate you guys for supporting the show. It's such an important point. We are so early. Nobody knows about this. You could wear a shirt that says I'm an XRP millionaire. You could wear a shirt that says I hold 1 million XRP. Most people wouldn't even know what that means. They wouldn't even know that they're walking next to somebody that's rich off of XRP alone. In fact, we just crossed the 8 million wallet milestone on the XRP ledger. Now, myself, I have over half a dozen wallets. I think I have closer to 10 XRP addresses that are mine. So when you add up people like me and others that have multiple wallets, we're literally talking about only a couple million people being here. And then when you add up how many people actually own more than like 1,000 XRP, guys, we're nobody. We're nothing. We literally are nothing. I know it's been said for so many years, they're not going to let all you XRP holders get rich. It's like, bro, who are you talking about? It's me and 2 friends. It's me and a few buddies. Literally. My friends know about XRP because they know kind of what I do. But you talk to the average person out there, not a clue. They know about Bitcoin. And this is important too to understand, is that Bitcoin has only maintained this role because it was first and it's the most well-known. It has that brand recognition and it was the first mover. That's the only reason that it's still in first place, but that's ready to be, flipped this next cycle. Very easily could be flipped next cycle. I can't wait for that one. Let's go rapid fire Q&A. TikTok, X, YouTube. If you guys haven't already, if you appreciate our content, please like, hype, share it out far and wide. TikTok, if you could tap the screen and share the stream, I appreciate that. Okay. Need Hopium. Are we taking off this year or 2027? No, we're taking off this year. Between now and October, we bottom out and then the bull run starts. If you had to ask me, that's what I would say. Is that between now and October, we will have bottomed out. Really, between now and the midterm elections, the bear market concludes and the bull run begins. But in 2022, XRP bottomed in June, Bitcoin bottomed in November. So you might have been left behind The bottom on XRP could have been $1 and a penny last month when we hit that. Let me go to the XRP price chart real quick. When did we go? Yeah, that was at the end of June. Basically June 25th, 26th. Yeah. So we might have bottomed out in June of 2026 here, just like we did in June of 2022. That might have been it. Is XRP about to take off? Yes. Is XRP going to an all-time high this year? Is it going to $10 this year, $100 per XRP this year? I would just say let's let the inflows come in. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Why hasn't the recent legislation in Europe and Japan affected the price? Because the institutions haven't taken it to scale yet, right? Why didn't the DTCC going live impact price? They're not at scale. Same thing with Europe, Japan, these other institutions. And because we still have a broader sentiment of fear, uncertainty, and doubt that is holding back people from wanting to deploy capital to crypto. It's viewed as not safe by retail, even though Larry Fink said that he's very bullish today on CNBC. So Larry Fink is bullish, but the average person is scared to go into crypto.
In earlier times when I was here, I was always worried about the leverage in Bitcoin and crypto. There was too much leveraged players in it. That's why we had the washout, and I think there's more stability at these levels here. But no, we don't see that much implicit leverage. For the scale of the capital markets today, the leverage is not as large. I mean, that doesn't mean there's not pockets. But no, as I said in my prepared remarks this morning, I'm very bullish on the markets over the next 12 months. I think there is no...
There you go. Very bullish on markets over the next 12 months, including crypto. Now for the stocks, we're getting close to the top here on the stock market, in my opinion. This has marked every major stock market top since 2000. Margin debt just jumped 53.7% in a year, hitting a record 1.4 trillion. That growth rate has only been matched right before the 2007 and 2021 tops. The S&P 500 only returned about 22% over the same period, roughly half the pace of margin debt growth. People aren't just buying stocks, they're borrowing money faster than the market is actually rising. In Korea, 1 in 30 traders got margin called here recently. Right? And, to speak to that point, I got this clip right here from Warren Buffett. Wall Street makes more money from gamblers than investors. And that's the whole point, is they want you in prediction markets. They want you gambling. They want you with a low T. They want you with low, what count. They want you to be a weak man. They want you to stay poor. Don't you get it? Why do you think these platforms have the visibility across all of the social media platforms? Why do you think that this fits so well into the agenda of not building long-term wealth, of not getting on the right side of the transfer of wealth? But instead, you're gambling the little bit of money that you have left over to invest. You're taking it to bet on sports. You're taking it to bet on a prediction market. And the results have come in, and most people are not winning on those. Shocker. And they want you in. They want you betting. Why do you, okay, I'm going to call out Coinbase real quick. Why do you think Coinbase is listing all this crap? They kind of slowed down, but they're still, why do you think Coinbase listed all that crap? They want you to gamble. They want you to bet. The coin paid a fee to get listed. And so then the exchange takes that, they turn it around, and they're going to generate money. The token pays money to get on the platform, and then they shill it to all of their clients to make money off of them buying some piece of crap token that has no utility, but the founders were able to scrounge up a checky to cut to Coinbase. And let's just say Coinbase is a hypothetical. I'm talking about a hypothetical scenario. Coinbase, don't come after me, please. This is just a hypothetical. Don't you get it? Don't you get that they want you to be a degen? They want you to be dependent. They don't want you to reproduce. They don't want you to stack XRP. They don't want you to stack God's money. They don't want you to own real estate. You're going to own nothing and be happy.
There are times when opportunities are just thrown at you so fast you can't, it's unbelievable. And then there's other times when you're very, very lucky if you find one thing in a couple of years. And it should always be that the latter is what prevails. But since humans love to gamble so much, there's more money in actually cultivating gamblers than there are cultivating investors.
Fair to say, though, it's tough.
That's the point. There's more money in cultivating gamblers than investors. Do I enjoy going to the casino, throwing $50 on the crap table and losing it? I do. I do. But I understand exactly what that is. I'm going to go to the casino. I'm going to go lose $100. I'm going to go spend $100 on dinner at the steakhouse with my wife, and we're going to go have a fantastic evening. And if you're in Vegas, at least they give you some free adult beverages while you gamble. At my local casino, they don't. And so I'm going to pay an extra $20, $30 for some drinks too. And that's throwing money away. Now, the ROI is a good night out. I'm not expecting a return on my dollars. I'm expecting to show my wife a good night out. But the mentality here has become so pervasive where everybody just becomes full-time degen. And do I like to once in a while step out and bet on some meme coins too? Yeah. Since I have children and I haven't had time to take my lovely wife to the casino, I don't even know the last time we went. I mean, we have gone to Vegas, XRP Vegas, and we didn't even gamble. But, the point being, right, since I haven't been able to go to the casino, when the XRP memes started to pop off, I threw a little bit at the XRP memes. And I ended up making more money than I lost, but I understood exactly what happened. It was a gamble. I got lucky. It wasn't a strategy. I don't win at the craps table one night and then think, oh man, we're set. I remember when I went to, I've been to Las Vegas many times because we have family in Colorado. So we would always drive down. As kids, we would fly to Vegas or Phoenix and then drive up to the southwest part of Colorado where my dad's family lives. And so I've been going to Vegas since I was a youngin'. But I remember my first trip there when I was 21. I actually went on a little bit of a run at the craps table, and I won like $400, $500. And I remember being so ecstatic because I'd literally paid for my Vegas trip, which, talking about going to Vegas for only $500 right now sounds insane. But I literally did. Like my flight on Allegiant, which was some, cheap airline in my neck of the woods, must have been super cheap. And then, we split the hotel between me and my other buddies that were 21. And then I just needed a little bit of food, little bit of beverage, but you get the beverage while you're gambling. And I went on a little bit of a streak at the craps table. Funny story, they actually cut me off. They started to give me juice. I thought I was drinking Mai Tais. I come to find out my buddy's dad was there watching me in the casino. It was me and a couple buddies at the table, and my buddy's dad was He talked to the pit boss later and he said, yeah, we cut this guy off a while ago. He's just drinking mango juice now or pineapple juice now. But the first couple rounds of Mai Tais were good, and it was flowing, and we were winning. And I remember winning $400 or $500 there. That was the best deal ever. I was flying so high, man. I paid for my whole trip. I thought I was literally thought I was a high roller, winning $400. Now, the point that I'm making is that I didn't have that experience and then go, okay, now I'm going to be a full-time gambler. Let me move down to Vegas and set up shop and become a full-time gambler. But this is how people invest when they come to crypto. They are full-time degenerates. They are full-time gamblers. Instead of moving down to Vegas and setting up shop, you're right here. Non-stop trading between crap coins instead of being a fundamental investor. And the platforms are encouraging you to do so. You went to level 1 and level 2 and level 3 because you're trading and doing all this and that. And this is why I like partnering up with the platforms that I work with. Right? I Trust Capital, my sponsor, completely free to just store your crypto there. So it aligns with the long-term investor who's not a trader, who's not doing anything sophisticated, but just being a fundamental long-term investor like Warren Buffett, a value investor in crypto. That platform set up for you. Same thing with Caleb and Brown. Why do I hold the majority of my crypto now at these platforms? Because it removes the liability of me having to secure it, puts it into institutional grade custody, and I know these platforms are working on other opportunities for us to be able to earn and borrow against our XRP and digital assets as well. Now, I also keep XRP in cold storage, and I'm ready to go play around in DeFi and go try some of these other things as well too, right? But we have to understand the difference between being a real gambler and being a real investor. As Warren Buffett just said, there's more money in creating an environment, in creating a culture of degeneracy and gambling than there is of fundamental investors, which is why you're getting bombarded in your feed with ads for Polymark. I shouldn't name platforms because I don't want these platforms to get upset with me. People get upset with me when I call them out. These gambling platforms, these other degenerate products and services and activities that are being sold to you, it's all part of a bigger agenda. And we have gone the complete opposite route. We're making more babies. We're stacking more XRP. We're going to go own real estate. We're going to own something and we're going to be happy too. We run businesses. We're not relying upon the government. When given an opportunity to take a check, we refused. That's literally what me and my business partner did back in 2020. A check from the government, we're good. Funny enough, the state of Washington tried to tell us that we weren't an essential business and that we needed to stay shut down. I said, thanks for the consideration, but we're going to keep it moving. You know, and that's why I love being here with you guys in the middle of the bear market. I love being here. I love these moments because I know I've been through these a few times, and you get to look back on these moments and you get to feel good about the fact that you stuck it out. You rode it all the way through. It's not easy. It's not popular. You're being told otherwise. You have other bills to pay. You don't even know if you're going to keep your job. You don't know if the whole world's going to blow up. You don't know if the aliens are going to show up. But when you're not afraid and you stay focused, you're unstoppable. That's the position that I want everybody to be in that's part of our community. Do you have concerns? Absolutely. But do you let the fear overtake you from taking action? Never. Never. That's my son's favorite new thing to say. He gets all worked up. Never. I'm never going to do it. But he just says never. These children are fun. They take my attention away from the bear market and how bad things are out there. So I encourage them for that reason as well, too. One of the best things you can do during the bear market is have a newborn baby. Good time. I can tell you that firsthand. I had my daughter in 2022. I had my son in 2023, my first son. And I now have my third child and my second son here in the 2026 bear market. I ride into the storm. My mentor, he told me, run towards the gunfire and take out anybody in your way. I love my mentor because he reminds me of my grandfather, Vietnam veteran. When the example that's been set for you is a position of willing to lay it all down on the line, willing to sacrifice it all for your family and your country, or for whatever you believe in, whatever that may be. When that's the example that's been set for you, I mean, shoot, I think about my life and how blessed I am compared to my dad had to work blue collar jobs his whole life after serving with the Navy. I think about my grandfather who worked blue collar, was his own contractor, built a lot of houses in my community that I was raised in after he served in Vietnam. I think about my great grandfather who served in World War II, came back, moved up to my neck of the woods, built a home for our family, right? I think about the sacrifices they made. And I think about some of the things in my life that are inconvenient. I think about what I get to do with my family, the technology that we have at our fingertips to help us in our businesses, to help us with our family, to help us with our investments. We have it pretty dang good. But I also think, and you guys probably relate with this as well too. I believe that we're here at this moment because we were put here for a reason. And I think our community really is part of a bigger resistance against evil. And we were put here at this time because we were deemed capable of that fight. We were deemed worthy of that fight. And it's a pleasure to be a part of that fight for me. Like I said, I don't have to go leave and go to the other part of the other side of the world to go fight for my family like my grandfathers did. I don't have to break my back anymore like I used to at my last job, my first business, and like my dad did, my grandfather, my great-grandfather, and everybody before me did. Had to break backs, had to go across the world, had to literally be in the trenches, which is why I hesitate to use the word trenches when describing trading crypto coins. Seems a little silly, borderline disrespectful when we consider what our fathers and grandfathers did. Some of you in the chat served. And not just for those that serve, but those who are willing to fight. Right? Whether you're in the military or not, if you're willing to fight, if you're willing to fight for what's right, you're on our team. You're part of this movement. This movement's bigger than my channel. This movement's bigger than crypto. This is a movement of common sense, of enough is enough. I had a door knocker show up to my house the other day, and they asked me, are you guys going to vote in the upcoming election and this and that? and I was about to mow my yard. And I decided, the kids were down for a nap. I said, okay, I got the time today. Let's have a conversation. Long story short, the gal asked me, what's the number one concern for you? And for me, I said safety. Safety. I want to be able to walk my family through my town and feel safe. Is that too much to ask for? Right. And I think that many of us are at that point where we just want to be able to enjoy ourselves. We have a job, even if we don't love it, it provides for our family. Let us go do our job. Let us enjoy our time with our family. And let us hopefully give a better opportunity for our children to do more than what we can accomplish in our lives. That's all I'm trying to do. And I know that's all that many of you guys are trying to do as well. What role does XRP and digital assets play in that? Well, it's very simple. We're living through a reset and a revaluation where fiat currencies are on the end of their life cycle, are on the end of their current valuations and are having to go through a revaluation. And you can price US dollars versus gold. You can price Japanese yen versus gold. You can price XRP, or you can price US dollar versus XRP. You can price US dollar versus Bitcoin. You can price US dollar versus coffee. US dollar versus orange juice if you want to get silly with it. And the point is the same. US dollar is being destroyed and devalued, and these assets are appreciating against all fiat currencies, US dollar, Japanese yen, and every other currency around the world. Are you going to be able to survive this debt, currency, and liquidity crisis? First question. Next question. How much are you going to be able to take advantage of this opportunity? My mentor, Dan Pena, he has a viral clip. And it's him yelling like a maniac that he is, saying, what are you going to tell your children, your grandchildren, that you did? What are you going to be able to tell them that you accomplished during the greatest transfer of wealth in world history? And he says some explicitives to the point, you ain't going to be able to tell them much. You're going to be able to, you're going to tell them that you sat on your big fat, and a couple other explicitives. Let's not let that be us. Right? Let's take advantage of this opportunity. Recognize it's not easy. Recognize that we're up against evil, but recognize that the average person has more tools than ever before. The average person has more information than ever before. And we have the ability to get connected better than ever before. That's where our true power lies. As I said earlier, when you give the people decentralized media, which is the power of social media, yeah, these platforms censor and do all this and that, but ultimately at the end of the day, it allows us to come together. You give the people decentralized media, decentralized currency. Voting with your dollars is one of the most important things you can do. And then you secure the voting on blockchain. That's the third prong of how you free people across this planet. Decentralized media, currency, and voting. A couple of the super chats came in, so I want to get to those real quick. Zuzu, I appreciate you, my friend. No worries on nitpicky. I know you were commenting on the microphone last time. I think that I fixed it. Let me know if you guys hear any issues with the microphone. I backed off the release, so it shouldn't be cutting off at the end of my words as hard as it was. Um, yeah, this has been a struggle since I started doing content, trying to get all of my microphone dialed in, everything dialed in. It's why I still like it. Sometimes it's nice to be able to just record a TikTok on my phone and not have to do a dang thing. But hopefully we got the microphone dialed in, and I appreciate you for commenting on that, because we're always trying to make sure that the quality of the content and the production is on point here. Michelle says, Zach, find me a strong military man invested in these assets so I can have an arranged marriage. Sincerely, an Aussie Army brat. Well, Michelle, you're in the right place. Chat, you know what to do. Um, Matchmaking, yeah. We really, we actually, yeah, that's going to be a thing. Matchmaking is going to be a thing, because I'll tell you, as you come to find, I mean, I've had this conversation with other folks in our community already. I mean, that's why I created a Discord group back in 2021. I kept on getting kicked off of TikTok, and I thought, okay, I need a safe space to be able to talk freely with people that are like-minded and are crazy like I am. And so that's what it was born out of. And now we've grown the community into a bunch of people, all walks of life, but we all come together to fight the same fight. And it's so important. I'm so happy, so blessed. My wife is so dialed in with me, completely locked in on our mission. We're so solid in our roles. And, I see other examples. I've heard stories about how it can be not like this. Do my wife and I have, you know, challenges, and do we have different things that we have to overcome? Do I make my wife upset from time to time? Oh boy. Um, but but overall, right? Overall, when you get that partner that's aligned with you, there's nothing like it. In fact, I actually think that was part of, I don't know if it was part of Think and Grow Rich or if it was another book, but it had noted how all of the most successful men, and this was just on men, so let's not, I mean, I don't care to get sexist with this. I think this can go either way, right? And obviously we live in a society now where roles can be reversed, where you have a woman who is the bread maker, and is out working, and you have a stay-at-home dad. That's, become more normal. The point being, when you have a partner that's aligned with you, you can accomplish even more. It's just that simple. And it talked about how all the most successful men, they hit success later on in life, and they all had a supporting wife right alongside them that was supporting them on that mission. And I think let's modernize that idea. Forget roles and all this crap. People are so worried about names and anyways. I just laugh. Because, I mean, come on, let's not waste time here. The point being, when you're on the winning team, when you have created a winning team, and I've done this in business, in my previous business, the reason why it worked so well is because I had good understanding of roles between me and my business partner. He was more mechanical, he could fix equipment, and he also had a background in accounting. So he did accounting, he did books and accounting work, and then he also fixed equipment, and he was a great project lead. For me, I handled all the sales and customer service. As you guys can tell, I can talk till the sun comes up tomorrow. So that was very easy for me. And when I believe in something, I can sell it forever. I have no stop. There's no slowing down. There's no time off. And that's the position that I've been in for years. I've been in a spot where I get excited on Sunday for years. I get excited to go attack Monday. I can't remember the last time I looked forward to a Friday and a weekend because I wanted time off. You know, that's not something that crosses my mind anymore. And so I want to get to you guys to that spot in your career, in your job. I want to get you to that spot in your relationship. That's why my net worth has been sliced in half as XRP's gone from 360 to $1, but I still have a smile on my face because I'm a made man. I truly am. And I'm just happy to participate in the fight. I'm happy to participate in the resistance. I'm happy for the opportunity to show up. I don't care about getting punched in the face and smacked down. I'm excited to wear that punch, get back up, and continue the fight. You know? And you guys are right there with me. And maybe in some regards, you want to make improvements. Maybe your relationship with your significant other isn't in the right spot. Maybe things aren't going as well at your job. Maybe your business is struggling, right? Maybe you're upset because you didn't play the last bull run as well as you wanted to. Right there with you, my friend. This is how we learn. And as we look at the opportunity that's presented today, I'm going to be updating my Discord group on all of my buy orders. I don't give financial advice, but I just keep it straight. Hey, here's where I'm placing my orders. You guys let me know where you're placing your orders. Hopefully they get filled. But from the previous bear markets that I've been through, I've learned to stop being greedy and to stop trying to get down too low on some of these entries. Buying XRP at $1.07, that's pretty dang close to the bottom. I'm about 6 cents away from the bottom. Is it going to matter all that much when XRP is on its way to those higher prices? Not going to make a huge difference. Right. I didn't buy 10-cent XRP in 2020. I thought it was going to 5 cents. I'm not making that same mistake now. There's a lot of people that are holding off on investing in digital assets, waiting for it to become favorable again, waiting for it to become safe again. That's fine. Just don't expect to hit it out of the park. I'm trying to hit it out of the park. On some portions of my portfolio, I'm just trying to play it conservative. But on other portions of my portfolio, absolutely trying to, smack the stitching off the ball. And you don't do that by playing it safe. You don't do that by getting scared of crypto when it's down 70%. You lean into that. You understand that that's your bottom. In 2018's bear market cycle, XRP dropped 95%. In the 2022 bear market cycle, XRP dropped 85%. We've already dropped 72%. You think I'm scared? Come on. Did I get liquidated? Almost. Not quite. A lot of people were rooting for me to be liquidated. Sorry to break the news. Haven't been liquidated. Did I get liquidated on my oil long? I did hit my stop loss. Yes, I did. I did take a loss on that one. And that's what we do. We step up to the plate and we're going to swing. Now, you have to understand the average person is sitting in the dugout and they're not going to get up to bat. The average person is sitting in the dugout and they're just counting down the innings until we get to the end of the ball game to where they can enjoy mommy brought orange slices and a Capri Sun. And that's where we're at. That's where we find ourselves. Some people are not going to participate. They've given up and they need a Capri Sun and some orange slices and cuddles from mommy. That's where we're at. I want to do 5 more minutes of rapid fire Q&A, and then we'll wrap this up as we hit the 2-hour mark for tonight's live show. I just want to ask one last time, though, if you guys appreciate our content, please help us out by liking, hyping, sharing it out far and wide. If you're new here, subscribe and hit that notification bell. 5 minutes of rapid fire. Let's go. Okay, we got XRP right now at $1.09. Came back down today after coming up to about $1.12 yesterday. Coming back down. And a lot of these coins have actually hit our buy targets. Orange slices. Yep. Where did you get the XRP hats? The XRP hats are on my website, zachrector.com. So it's another way to support the cause. I don't promote it enough, but I should. So, there's many ways that you guys can support our channel here. First off, it's free to smack that thumbs up, to hype it up and share it out. That's free. We really appreciate that. And then furthermore, you can use all of our affiliate resources. You can go to our sponsor. That's a way to support us. You can also join our private community through Patreon to get access to our Discord. You'll find a lot of value in there. But then we also have the XRP family merch available at zachrector.com. Just head to the website. You'll find the merch. And we have all the XRP hats available there. And we got some new collections on the way as well. So be ready for that. I'm working on our beanies too. I gave away some XRP beanies at Vancouver Resource Investment Conference. I just took up a big box of hats and beanies and t-shirts and just gave them away to my Discord members that met me up in Vancouver. And then I gave away basically anybody that recognized me up in Vancouver, because I had a booth set up this year. Anybody that recognized us, my reward for them recognizing us was to give them some XRP hats and merch and stuff. And so I gave away a bunch of hats and beanies, but I'm excited for the beanies. That'll be really good coming into our next winter. So be on the lookout for those. But we're working on some other stuff as well too. I love watching ZR lines up with a lot of my values and explains this to me better than any content creators. I appreciate that, guys. Your support is everything to me. How are things going? Things are going great. I can't wait to report more. I will have some great things to report here very soon on some matters that are very exciting and very fun. Stay tuned. It's all good over here. I actually I forgot to mention this earlier too. When it comes to legal and estate planning, I don't plug it enough. But one of the affiliate relations that we have is with KKOS Lawyers. They're the law firm that has set up my family's trust. And if you guys want to set up, I just heard another one too the other day. Get a couple different prices, guys, because I'm still getting feedback and I'm still hearing from people that people are trying to get you to way overpay for legal and estate planning services. And so I would just be careful. And I would just get a couple bids, just like you would if you're going to have somebody build you a deck, you're going to have a couple contractors come through. Same thing for your legal and estate planning. But I would encourage you guys to go to my website, or if you're watching on YouTube, the link down below for legal and estate planning. And maybe, we're late. It's 9 o'clock on the West Coast. It's midnight Eastern. So maybe just plan it for tomorrow. But hop on it tonight. Whenever you get a chance, though, hop on there and get a bid and have a talk with KKOS lawyers. When you go to the legal and estate planning link that's in the description of my videos or at my website, you'll set up a free 15-minute call with them, and you'll be able to determine whether or not you guys would be a good fit. But I think they will, and I think that you guys will be pleasantly surprised with how they're just not trying to take advantage of you guys, because I'm hearing some crazy, crazy horror stories out here on people that are paying way too much for legal and estate planning. And so I don't plug them enough, but they're who I use for my legal and estate planning. Hit them up in the description of my video or at my website, zachrector.com, and get in touch with them. My trust only cost me $4,000, which I thought was very fair. And that included a full consultation as well, too. Full consultation and comprehensive estate planning, along with the entity formation, all in for $4,000. So just check your options out there, because I've seen people that are literally charging amounts that it just blows me away, man. Blows me away. How can I do estate planning when I only have 2 pups? Well, you can include the pups in your estate plan. That is part of it. They asked me if I had any pets. I said, no, just children. And we're adding children to it. They said, okay, that's not a problem. We can add children as you go. Core Pins, I appreciate you coming in with another super chat. I like that little GIF. Core Pins, I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, guys. I always chat with people in the service industry and introduce them to XRP. I give them your info to use you as a learning tool. No hopium, just facts and heart-to-hearts. Little Null, you don't understand how much that means to me, guys. And I think for me, this is the last thing I'll say. I come from small town. I come from everybody knows you. Everybody knows your business. And if you screw over one person, the entire town will know about it. That's my foundation for business, and now my content being, or my business being content. Right. The way that I look at this is how I approach that business as well in my small town, which is that if I ever did one person wrong, it's over for me. And so am I going to be the guy that says, hey, I can tell you exactly where this market tops and drops and bottoms and goes next? No. But am I going to be honest? Am I going to admit when I'm wrong? Am I going to take a moment to celebrate when we get it right, but then keep it moving? Yes. Because we know that, this is an ongoing battle. So even when we do get a victory, we pat ourselves on the back once or twice and then we keep it moving. Right? But the difference here is that a lot of people don't come from that background of small town, shake somebody's hand, look them in the eyes, and that person's going to be honest with you. That person's going to fulfill their end of the deal. Right? And these are the people that I like to work with. These are the people that I like to surround myself with. And these are the types of relationships that I've already established with so many people in our community. And so we will continue to build this out, but only through your support. So please, thank you so much. Continue to like these videos, continue to share them out. I encourage you guys to send people the shorts and the regular updates. Don't send them the 2-hour live show to get started, maybe. Maybe you can. Maybe you tell them, hey, check out how this guy breaks down all of it. This guy covered current events, real estate, crypto, stock market, life, family, business. He covered everything in this 2-hour show. Here's the link. maybe you can send that to them if you think they're ready. But the shorts do good. And then if you guys haven't already, make sure you're following me on X, following us on TikTok, YouTube, and X. That's the trifecta for the social media platforms. And all of our community resources are available at zachrector.com every time, whether you're buying an XRP family hat, whether you're signing up with I Trust Capital and taking advantage of the $100 funding bonus, whether you're signing up with Caleb and Brown or any of our other affiliates. All of it is a way to support our show, and I greatly appreciate you guys for doing so. I'm going to wrap it up here, but we'll be back tomorrow with some more content. And then if you want to join us for our Discord weekly call, we do it every Saturday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. This Saturday is going to be an important one. We're going to be talking about buy orders for finishing off this bear market. You won't want to miss it. So get tapped in with us. ZachRector.com is the website. You guys have a fantastic night, and God bless you all. Thank you so much.